Glad y'all on time. Okay. So it's 12. We'll go ahead and call this work session and personnel meeting to order. And welcome, everyone's welcome. Glad to have all of you. What's the first item on the agenda, Scott?
Budget discussion.
Budget discussion, all right. So we're going to go into the budget discussion first. We don't have a city manager today, so we'll let the Mayor Pro Tem take off with it. Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem. What you got?
All right, we're actually, Shane and I sitting here going through all these printout stuff, trying to figure out which one's which.
Yeah, he gave you about 4 different choices, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
I think there's about 7 different choices.
7 different ones.
For me, and I mean, I'll kind of start it out for me.
All right, go ahead.
I mean, there's so many different variances on every single one of these that, and without Tyler to explain where or what.
His position.
Yeah. I'm not sure how this is gonna work out. And that's just being honest.
No, that's terrible.
I mean,
I never seen a situation like this where the city manager's up and quit in the middle of a race. When the race driver jump out of his car in the middle of the race, it'd be tough, wouldn't it? His car would be riding down the track by itself.
The original one that he was presented to us, that one, if I remember correctly, we were just about agreeing with everything that was there, the original one, except for the salaries.
The one that's in April 2nd,
And then
original budget, April 2nd.
that one, like I said, was the salaries, and that's why I said, well, let's come up with solutions so we can hash this out. But then when me and Shane were talking the other day, trying to figure out, well, which ones, is it really right? Don't know. So that's where I'm at.
Here's the good news. We don't have to have the budget passed by June 30th. We still got plenty of time. But first thing I would do, I'd try to secure an acting city manager to where we could move forward with running the city and getting someone in here to take care of the employees and take care of this board. I think that would be the #1 priority, and just skip over the work session for trying to adopt the budget or get the budget ready. We still have plenty of time. How you doing, Mr. Attorney? How are you, sir?
Then Tyler, wherever your search bar is.
But that'd be my recommendation, that we just go into executive session to talk about hiring an interim city manager to get the city up and running, and then follow up with another meeting after you do, or maybe get an acting city manager to run this place. And then you can follow through what all you're talking about, the upcoming budget and getting everything in perspective. Because we're still operating under the old budget. We're not in no dire straits. No one's going to have to jump out the window. No, we just got to get it organized, that's all. Like Mr. Turner agrees with that. We should be organized, should have someone running this city, right?
I agree with that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think the
So-
only thing that I would add, if it's all right, Mr. Mayor, is
Yeah.
that you do want to make sure you comply with the Local Government Fiscal Control Act and have the budget submitted to the clerk by June
Yes, sir.
30th. So
All
and
the-
I
all
think
the
you're on
public
track to
hearings,
do
everything
that.
has to be done in the interim. I understand that, but right now, the biggest concern for this board and this city is to get someone here to run the city.
Mhm.
All right, so that, I would need a motion.
John, how long do we have to have a proposed budget for review?
The
Prior to-
No,
10
sir.
days. I mean, typically the practice has been 30 days to set it out, and then and you have to have the public hearing before June 30th. So the practice has typically been to submit the
10 days.
budget prior to the May meeting, set the public hearing in May, which gives you really a 30 days, but the statute does not require that long,
So
so.
it is 10 days. for
Yeah.
actual- That's what I was curious
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, if you had to go to the last minute, like 10 days before adopting the budget,
Yeah.
have the public hearing.
But
In the interim, we need to have a budget present to the folks, but we need a city manager, acting city manager, someone to fill in to run this city to help us with this whole.
Right, although there are various drafts of a budget and a budget message, and that would comply with the statute. It doesn't mean that the council's all in agreement with
Right.
that. Like, that could be submitted, and ultimately, a majority of the council will have to approve the budget, and that doesn't mean they have to approve the budget that the manager submits. I mean, there's a lot, my impression, I wasn't at the last budget retreat, but my impression is there's a lot that's agreed on. There's some things that still need to be tweaked, and so you could, you know, have that budget submitted. You do need a budget officer, and the statutes say the city manager is the budget officer, so he needs to submit that. But I feel like the council's on track to meet all those things, but I would want, or I would recommend that, you know, continue
Yeah,
on
we're
that.
nowhere near out of trust, we're nowhere near out of, you know, being ready to have a budget
Right.
approved by June the 30th. We just need to get organized and move forward with getting us an interim manager in the meantime.
And for me, I mean, just kind of looking at the different variations, to me, there's a lot of,
Back and forth.
well, there's a lot of data that's changed, numbers have changed, and I'm not sure
Which-
where, I mean, once you kind of know what your revenue is going to be for your Avalon, you know, you kind of go with that. And I know it's not set in stone, but it's figured about 3 or 4 different ways in here, in between the different budgets.
But the whole.
That's kind of some of the
Yeah,
questions I
The
have.
truth, and nothing but the truth, is gonna be from Chelsea, is the tax office, giving us a total value of what our city is gonna be able to be taxed for this upcoming budget year. And once she gives you that, then you.
Well, I don't think you'll get
that's-
this before the time to set the budget, but now I've looked back on the audit from, you know, I'm pulling data from the audit from the last.
Only thing we can go by is what's on,
25.
actually on the tax books now is what each property's valued at. And then you set the tax rate according to what the total values are.
I mean, some of these I think were set off of the TR report from 25. I think some of these were set off of the,
But everything's changed. Just like that house down there is 300,000, 700,000. So they've already got things up to date as far as the new reevaluation and stuff. It's in their control, not the new reevaluations coming a year or two down the road, but as what things like the homes being built and things like that, they're on the books now. But she'll be the only one that can give us that information with a city manager, without a city manager. Got to come from her desk, tell us how much money Lowell is, the value of our city's worth. And then you go set the tax rate accordingly. Of course, you know that, you've been here a long time, you're a professional. But we need help to get an acting city manager on board to help this council get to where we need to be by June the 30th. And I would suggest that we table this deal about the budget session, move directly into going into an executive session to talk about the situation with the city manager up and leaving us in the middle, and we've paid him all this money. Mr. Attorney, I'm very disappointed in this whole process. He's failed this whole city, along with the board and the whole city. You know, it's okay to resign, it's okay to take another job, but hell, fulfill your obligations, or he needs to be sued for not doing his obligations. And that's the truth, and you know it's the truth. Things are in disarray, correct, Scott? And we need to adjust this thing and get it straight. All of us. I'm just Scott, all of us. I'm just talking to him directly because he is the mayor pro tem and he has a lot of responsibility that we don't see. But he works his butt off trying to get these things together, and I appreciate it. And what a smart man he is. So, that being said, I think we need to make a motion to do this later on, and then go into executive session, discuss hiring a interim city manager, if that's okay with the council.
I don't have anything else.
Anyone else? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take over, interrupt you.
I just know, you know,
Just go ahead.
the first budget was balanced. The issue between us was the increase at the police department. And then Shane brought up, might have been debates about the going across the board to 3%. I like that idea, but think that was the fourth budget, and it took the 2 cents out of 6. And I'm just now, the last budget, the one Tyler sent out last night, I mean, I'm still going over it.
It's gonna take some time to study this thing correctly. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Mr. Smith, but he keeps sending these different types of budgets and things like that. He's no longer in the picture. I don't even pay attention to what he says, I'm disappointed. But we need to move forward with what we have, and that's us. That's all we've got. And we gotta move forward and get an interim manager. That's the first priority we need. And then we can continue down the road with this budget. Nothing's dire right now. Everyone's gonna get paid. Everything's okay. But we just have to move. We gotta move forward.
Travis, I don't know if I know you said you're just now kind of looking at the last one that sent last night.
Yeah, the one late last night.
But something that's puzzling me is, just for example, on admin salaries. If-
Do you mind taking your, I don't have any control, messed up and stuff.
on the administration salaries. That was, the one sent last night was some sort of pay increase, raise. But if you look at the salaries, there's a decrease of $114,000 from last year.
I noticed that.
So, I mean, how are we going backwards? So I'm not sure. I mean, there's a couple other departments that are going backwards in the salaries. So I'm kind of lost on these budget proposals that he sent out, to be honest. Because a lot of numbers are not making sense.
That's why I suggest we table this, and then we have another work session after we get an interim city manager on board. We've got to go to work. We got a lot of work to do. We can't, city's not gonna be able to stop just because he's gone. We gotta continue forward. And we've got to get this budget adopted. I realize that more, as much as you do. But we gotta move forward. Number one, table this if you can, until we get an interim manager. And then that way we get to act. We need to get all the figures from Lisa. She's the finance officer. She should be able to give us anything that we need, Lisa. Anything that this council needs, you should be able to give it to us in a relatively short amount of time, like clicking a button. And that way they can get all the actual figures, how much money we have to operate with. This is only a $7 million budget. You can do it in your head. But we gotta move forward with it. We can't stop. And the only way we're gonna move forward is to eliminate this right now, just table it until we get the information from Lisa, and only Lisa, because Lisa is the finance officer. Who else is gonna be able to give us our information other than her? And she can work with the tax office and the water department, and everything, and she can comply. You can come up with something, looking at the old budget, and relatively just simple, and add the increases that you need, that you feel like we need to take care of the things that this council has been talking about for the past 2 months. And y'all doing a good job. You're trying to do it the right way, and you're studying hard, you're working hard, and I'm proud of each and every one of you. And whatever we come up with, that's gonna be the budget. But we can't do it ourselves, but we're gonna have to depend on Lisa as far as the finance officer, correct? She'll be the one to give us the information we need, and she can send it out in email form to y'all, and y'all can study it. And I'll just, when we get to the meeting, we'll talk about it.
I don't mind going into executive session and talking about that. I don't mind going into the executive session and talking about the city manager, but is the interim manager, the person, the candidate here that we can interview?
I have no idea. I don't know none of them.
Assuming the gentleman on the back row back there.
Well, instead of, let's take it by step. Let's go interim manager and then discuss budget here shortly.
Yeah. We need to
But
table the budget.
instead of, continue to talk about it, I guess.
Let's just continue the work session for the budget, and let's make a motion to go into executive session where we can discuss.
That's pretty much what I said.
Okay, then make the motion.
Then you were saying about back into the budget.
Yes.
Make the
That
motion.
won't be it.
I make a motion that we close the budget meeting right now and then go into executive session for the purposes of discussing city manager or personnel business.
An interim manager, yes. Sir.
Interim
Okay.
manager.
Yes, sir. I got a motion to have a second.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. I'm sorry to have to dismiss y'all, but we have to talk about this in executive session. But thank y'all, and thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for being interested in the city. Thank you, thank you, thank you.